There's a state worse than sadness, worse than anger, worse than grief. It's feeling nothing. Not peace, not calm. Nothing. A flat line where your emotions used to be. A gray fog that covers everything. Food, music, people, sunsets, victories, losses, and makes them all taste the same. Like cardboard, like static, like air. You're not depressed. At least you don't think so. You function. You work. You eat. You sleep. You respond to texts. You show up. But somewhere between the alarm clock and the pillow, you stopped being a person and started being a process. And the scariest part isn't the numbness itself, it's how long it took you to notice. Because the transition from feeling to not feeling didn't happen overnight. It happened so slowly, so gradually, that by the time you realized something was missing, you couldn't remember what it was. Tonight, we're going to talk about the silent epidemic nobody discusses. Emotional numbness. What causes it? What it costs you? And why the man who feels nothing is in more danger than the man who feels too much. You weren't born numb. Nobody is. Every child feels everything at full volume. Joy is screaming. Sadness is sobbing. Anger is a tantrum. Fear is a nightmare that makes you run to your parents' bed. Children don't regulate emotions. They experience them raw and unfiltered. And then, slowly, systematically, the world teaches them to stop. Stop crying. Big boys don't feel scared. Don't be so emotional. Toughen up. And every instruction is a brick. Brick by brick, you build a wall between yourself and your emotions. Not to be strong, to be safe. Because somewhere along the way, you learned that feelings are dangerous. Feelings get you hurt. Feelings get you laughed at. Feelings get you abandoned. So you found the off switch, and you pressed it. Psychologists call this emotional suppression. It's different from regulation. Regulation means you feel the emotion and manage how you express it. Suppression means you don't let yourself feel it at all. You intercept the emotion before it reaches consciousness and bury it before it can surface. And at first, it works beautifully. The kid who suppresses his sadness doesn't cry in school. The teenager who suppresses his anger doesn't get in fights. The young man who suppresses his fear doesn't hesitate. He looks strong, controlled, unshakable. But suppression has a side effect nobody warns you about. You can't suppress selectively. The brain doesn't have separate switches for each emotion. There's one switch, and when you press it, everything goes dark. You kill the sadness, and the joy goes with it. You kill the fear, and the excitement goes with it. You kill the anger, and the passion goes with it. You wanted to stop hurting. Instead, you stopped living. The numb man lives in a world without color. He eats, but food is fuel. He listens to music, but it's background noise. He watches a movie, and by the time the credits roll, he's already forgotten what it was about. He has sex, and it's mechanical. A body performing a function, not a soul connecting with another. People tell him jokes, and he laughs. But the laugh is manufactured. He learned the timing. He learned the appropriate facial expression. He can simulate emotion so perfectly that nobody suspects the simulator has been running on empty for years. This is what psychologists call alexithymia, the inability to identify, describe, or process emotions. And studies show it affects roughly 10% of the general population, with significantly higher rates in men. But clinical alexithymia is only the extreme end. Millions more men exist in what could be called functional numbness. They feel enough to pass as normal, but not enough to feel alive. They are present in every room, but absent from every moment. Their body is there, but their soul checked out years ago. And the functional numb man has a tell. One tell that gives him away every time. He can't answer one simple question. What do you want? Not, what should you do? He has a spreadsheet for that, not, what makes sense? His logic is pristine. But what do you actually want? What makes your heart beat faster? What would you do if nobody was watching and nothing was at stake? Silence. Blank stare. Because wanting requires feeling. And he turned the feeling off so long ago that he doesn't even know where the switch is anymore. Emotional numbness doesn't just rob you of joy, it robs you of information. Emotions aren't decoration, they're data. They are your body's fastest, most sophisticated intelligence system. Fear tells you something is dangerous. Anger tells you a boundary was crossed. Sadness tells you something valuable was lost. Joy tells you you're aligned with what matters. When you shut down your emotions, you shut down your guidance system. You're flying blind, making decisions with half the instruments offline. And the decisions you make from numbness are not rational decisions. They're hollow decisions. Decisions that look logical on paper, but lead you nowhere meaningful. Because meaning requires feeling, and you've disabled the sensor that detects meaning. This is why numb men build impressive lives that feel empty. The career is successful, but purposeless. The relationship looks good, but feels dead. The body is healthy, but the mind is a waiting room. Every external metric says you're winning. Every internal signal says you're lost. And there's a physical cost too. Suppressed emotions don't disappear. They go underground. They live in the body. Chronic tension in the jaw from unexpressed anger. Chest tightness from unprocessed grief. Stomach problems from swallowed fear. The body becomes a storage unit for everything the mind refused to process. Research in psychosomatic medicine has shown that chronic emotional suppression is associated with higher rates of cardiovascular disease, weakened immune function, chronic pain, and autoimmune conditions. Your body is literally keeping the score of every emotion you refuse to feel. You're not avoiding pain, you're converting it. From emotional pain, which can be processed and released, into physical pain, which accumulates and compounds. The bill always comes due. You just don't get to choose the currency. Here's the part nobody talks about. Numbness becomes addictive, not because it feels good. It doesn't feel like anything. That's the point. And in a world that constantly demands your emotional participation, your empathy, your enthusiasm, your grief, your outrage, feeling nothing becomes a shelter, a fortress, a drug. The numb man looks at emotional people and feels a quiet superiority. I don't get affected by things. I'm above it. I'm in control. And that sense of control is intoxicating. Because the alternative, opening the gates and letting the flood of unfelt emotions crash through, is terrifying. He knows, on some deep unconscious level, that behind the wall, there's a backlog. Years of unprocessed grief, decades of swallowed anger, a lifetime of unfelt losses and unexperienced joys. And opening that wall doesn't mean feeling a little sad. It means a tsunami. A complete, overwhelming system failure that he is not equipped to survive. So he keeps the wall up. Not because he's strong, because he's terrified of what happens when the wall comes down. Psychologists call this affect phobia. the fear of one's own emotions. It's not that the numb man can't feel. It's that he's afraid of what will happen if he does. Afraid he'll lose control. Afraid he'll cry and never stop. Afraid he'll feel the full weight of everything he's been running from and collapse under it. And so the numbness perpetuates itself. It becomes the only safe state, the only familiar territory, the only version of himself he trusts, even though it's killing him, even though it's hollowing out every relationship, every experience, every moment that should matter. He chose numbness to survive, and now he's surviving in a way that isn't living. The way back to feeling isn't a switch, it's a thaw. Slow, uncomfortable, sometimes agonizing. You don't smash the wall, you open a window, a small one, and you let one feeling in at a time. Start with the body, because the body holds what the mind suppresses. Put on a piece of music you loved when you were younger, before you went numb, not to analyze it, just to listen. Let the vibration find whatever is still alive inside you. If something moves, even a flicker, don't chase it. Don't name it. Just let it exist. Exercise until your body forces an emotional response. Sprint until your lungs burn and tears form in your eyes. Not from sadness, but from raw physical intensity. The body knows how to cry even when the mind has forgotten. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. No phone, no stimulation, no escape. And notice what rises when there's nothing to distract from it. The boredom, the discomfort, the whisper of something beneath the surface. That whisper is the first sign that you're still in there. Right. Not publicly. Not for anyone. Just for yourself. Stream of consciousness, whatever comes. It will start mechanical and empty. Keep writing. By page 3, something unexpected appears. A memory, an image, a sentence that makes your hand stop. That's the crack in the wall. And then, the hardest step. Tell someone. One person. Not everything. Just one true thing. I don't feel anything most of the time. Just that sentence, spoken out loud to another human being, is an act of courage that most numb men will never attempt, because saying it makes it real, and real means it can be addressed, and addressed means it might change. And change is what the numb man fears most, because change requires feeling the things he's been running from his entire life. But the feelings won't kill you. They never would have. That was the lie you were told as a boy. Don't cry or something bad will happen. Nothing bad happens when you cry. Something good happens. The pressure releases. The wall cracks. Light gets in. And light, after years of darkness, hurts. It burns. It blinds. But it's also the first sign that you're still alive. Pain means you're alive. Sadness means something mattered. Anger means you still care about something. Even grief, even that crushing, airless, suffocating grief is proof that you loved. Numbness is the absence of all of that. It's not strength. It's not peace. It's a slow, quiet death that no one mourns because no one can see it. If you've been numb for months, for years, for as long as you can remember, know this. You are not broken. You are frozen. And frozen things can thaw. It won't be comfortable. It won't be quick. And the first things you feel might not be beautiful. They might be the backlog of pain you've been storing for decades. But behind the pain, there is life. Real, messy, overwhelming, beautiful life. The kind you haven't felt since you were a child. The kind that makes food taste like food again. That makes music sound like it was written for you. That makes a sunset worth stopping for. That life is still there. Waiting. Behind the wall you built. All you have to do is let it in. This is OBSCURA. Clarity through darkness.